Hi, this is Professor Mitchell, and this video is designed to show you how to do research during your preliminary research phase of your research journey. This video is going to show you how to do successful or more successful research using Google and using Wikipedia. So if you're doing a Google search, you just pop in the terms. I'm going to use student loans as our terms this time. And so typically when you do some kind of Google search, you'll see top stories across the top. Depending on the type of search or how many times you've done the search, you may see ads relating to your search. So of course we have these top stories here: Politico, Forbes, Market Watch, Business Insider. There's another Forbes article. But the way you can get to just news articles is, of course, to click news at the top of the Google page, and then you'll just be looking at news articles. So we see the political articles again. There's Yahoo Finance, which wasn't on the top stories. Market Watch, Housing Wire has popped up, CNBC, various different articles. Bank Rate, because student loans relate to banking. So you'll notice that you have some different or more articles under the news tab, that as opposed to just the all resources tab. Another thing to keep in mind when you're doing Google search is never just stick to the first page. Just because something is not appealing to you on the first page, maybe it might be on the second or third page. You see now we're getting Newsweek articles, more Forbes articles than we saw on the first pages. Common Dreams is a we'll say non-profit, if I'm not mistaken, publication. Click on the third page, you're seeing even more articles. So remember to always go beyond just the first page and to click your news link when you're doing different searches for whatever terms to have a better success of your research. The other thing I wanted to show you is in Wikipedia. So I'm going to go directly to the Wikipedia page, and I'm going to type in student loans, but not just student loans. I'm going to look at student loans in the US. And once that page opens up, let me stress that although you may have heard that Wikipedia is not a good place to check for resources, I say it's a great place to check for resources at the beginning of your research. That is your preliminary research stage. Wikipedia is always great to get general good information about things, and depending on how developed a topic page is, it can be very, very helpful. For instance, I'm looking specifically at student loans in the United States. This gives us regulatory information. So this is giving us laws and the departments that relate to student loans. This is giving us distribution channels, which would explain how student loans are distributed. This is telling us about specific kinds of student loans. So even just in this little box here, you could branch off to many different things and start, checking out those different pages to start refining your topic. The other more important thing I want to tell you about Wikipedia is whenever you're using a Wikipedia search, you always want to scroll down to the bottom, and more developed pages on Wikipedia are going to have tons and tons and tons of references. The reason this is really good is you can use this list of references as resources. Wikipedia, although it is editable by literally anybody who can log in and edit pages, the really well developed pages on Wikipedia have to have sources. And as you can see, this page on student loans in the US has 141 articles linked in it. I also want to draw your attention to these types of sources. Sources that are in PDF format on a Wikipedia page often are more credible. Sometimes they are even scholarly articles. So for instance, this is a quarterly report. Let me see if I see others that I would know and recognize. So here's one right here. Number 117 is from the Chronicle of Higher Education. That is a credible, reputable publication within academia. 116 is Inside Higher Ed. That is a trade publication within academia. You see news articles. Here's USA Today at number 115. There is an article here that is from a academic publication, Journal of Legislation and Public Policy. So I want to reiterate that Wikipedia is a great place to start your research. It just should not be the place where you end your research. So never cite from Wikipedia. So whenever we want to do a Google search, we will typically just pop in a term. So I will use student loans. And we know we have these tabs across the top, so news, images, videos, books, etc. And typically you will see top stories which relating to news, and you will see a variety of different kinds of articles here. And then, you can always go, scroll down and see what else is there, and, click through the different pages down at the bottom to see what's there. But if you know a specific publication website, you can use a little trick for Google by typing in site and colon and a URL. So I'm going to, as you can see, I've already done some of that searching. And so I'm going to pop that in. So I've done student loans search, and then I've put site colon and then USA Today. You will now see that all of the resources I have here are from USA Today. If I click news and just pop over to that side, you'll see a quick explanation here that when you do a refined search with site, Google will show you results from all of the index pages from the website you specified. So now all of the resources are looking at the USA Today publication, and they are searching for the phrase student loans within these articles. So for instance, here, if you look at this headline, new scam demands victims stay on the phone. Here's how it works. If you just looked at that headline or that title, you wouldn't necessarily think of student loans. But this phrase here, this blurb from the article says student loan problems as reported to Maryland AG's office, yada, yada, yada. So it's telling you that student loans are mentioned within that article. And if you're looking at some of these headlines here, in a regular Google search, you might not have looked at some of these articles because you might not have realized they related to student loans. But because we've done that specific search for student loans on this particular website, it has pulled every article from USA Today that has the phrase student loans in that article. We can try another search, and I will show you that it works just the same. So I will go to Washington Post. Both of these publications that I'm using are well-known, reputable, and credible, as well as national publications. And keep in mind, most publications, they will goof sometimes. They will print, slightly erroneous information, but credible, reputable publications do not seek to misinform people. And credible, reputable publications, especially nationally known publications, will always print a correction or retraction if they got a story wrong. So please just keep that in mind. So again, I've done the student loan search with site colon, and then we're on the WashingtonPost.com site. So again, you'll see that all articles here are from the Washington Post. And again, you will notice that some of these headlines might not have caught your attention if you had simply done a student loan search in Google, because some of them may not have popped up. Or if you were skimming, looking just for the phrase student loans in the title, then you might not have seen these articles at all. So you can repeat this kind of search with any publication website that you know. You need the basic URL for the homepage of that publication. If you don't really read a whole bunch of publications that often and you're kind of struggling, keep in mind that on Canvas, I have a news resources page with under additional course materials, and there's a ton of publications listed there, and you can just pop in any of those publication URLs to find sources. Here's another one, Reuters. Reuters is a minimally biased publication. They are an aggregate news publication, so that means that they distribute relatively minimally biased sources because their information has to go out to all the publications. So again, student loans based on Reuters.com, and then we have a whole bunch of sources here. So again, you can repeat this kind of search with virtually any URL that you need. Just remember, it's site colon and then the basic URL. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. I hope this has been helpful.